From the ages of 6 to 14, I went to Young People's Day Camp, which was a day camp in the tri-state New Jersey area in Staten Island, where they would pick you up during the day, you and campers from other towns, and you would go do different activities each day, and they'd pick you up like 8 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be home like 4:35 at night. It was a cool place to go to meet um, different folks from different towns, people you'd probably never meet ordinary. I met a lot of cool friends that I didn't even know from our town. A lot of friends like Corey Jones, Cole Messina, the Dillons, um, Megan Williams, a bunch of people from that town. Pete Aguilera from Old Bridge, Jared Appner from Old Bridge, bunch of cool friends. My friend Jeremy. Anyway, it was awesome. It was an awesome time. Um, Being that my family was pretty much split, half of my family, my father's side, the Gattusos, they called me Rocco because that's my original first name. I was born with the name Rocco, and then it was switched to Frederick after my grandfather died. So I have two actual first names, Rocco and Frederick Rocco. My father's side of the family always called me Rocco. My mother's side always called me Frederick. When it came time to go to summer camp, they asked me what I like to be called, and I was called Rocco. Since my family I seen every day and my friends all knew me as Frederick, I wanted to be called Rocco. So it was kind of like being a separate identity of who I was. Fred was kind of like a shy guy. Rocco was a little more outgoing and a little more livelier, I guess you could say. Went to this camp for years, for years. Like I said, met some awesome people. Had some of the greatest times and greatest stories ever. Mondays we'd go to a swimming pool, usually Rawway Park pool, go swimming. Tuesdays we'd go to the beach, we'd go Sandy Hook. Wednesday was always like our big adventure day. We'd go to like Sesame Place, we'd go to Great Adventure, we'd go to the Intrepid, we'd go someplace special every Wednesday, and that was really cool. Submarines, the aquarium in Coney Island, really cool places. Every Thursday was always Round Valley or Spruce Run. We'd go to a lake. And Friday we'd go bowling in the morning, or if it was raining, we'd go to movies sometimes. When we got older, we got to go to the mall and they'd give us money to go spend it and stuff. And it was just awesome. In between times of playing in the park, playing softball, baseball, basketball, football, whatever the hell we felt like at the day, frisbee, kickball, volleyball. It was cool. Very cool times. Very cool times. Had some crazy wild times on that bus. Every summer I look forward to seeing my summer friends who I knew would be back the next year. Even though a few of us, like I said, Corey and Nicole, I consider them like brother and sister. We spent so many summers together. Friggin' grew up together on a damn little small yellow bus going back and forth. And we'd always complain about the other people from other towns because we'd be like, nobody could really understand us, even though I never really seen them during the school year, only during the summer. Um, so it was really cool. We always had that really cool, close, tight connection, and always, always appreciated those times, and always will appreciate those times. People that ran the camp, oh, the Gerards, Mr. Gerard and his family, were some of the best people ever in the world. They were really seriously some of the best people that God ever created, and I can never thank their family enough for what they did for me and my family. Some weeks they'd let me go for free. Some weeks they took care of us. Let's just put it that way. And it was awesome. One year my niece went there too, but I kind of chased her out of there because I wanted it to be my own little private zone. You know what I mean? She'd still call me Fred, and I was like, no, I'm not Fred here. I'm Rocco here. Um, but it was great times. Such great times. When I was 14, I was actually my first job I ever had. I was too old to be a counselor there, and they asked me to become. I mean, I was too young to be a camper there, so they asked me to become a counselor at the age 14 for a group of 7 and 8-year-old boys. So me and I got a friend of mine, Pete, a job there, being counselors for the 7 and 8-year-old boys in charge of them, 30 kids. My buddy Pete, who I thought was my buddy at the time, is a whole different chapter right there, but not in this book. He quits after a week and he leaves me with these kids. I got 37-year-old, 7 and 8-year-old kids, and most of them were good. You know, some of them came from troubled backgrounds, or this and that, but most of them were good kids, and they didn't mean no bad. They were just wild, 7 and 8 years old. I mean, shit, I was there too. I know what it was like. And he bailed out of Dodge and he left me alone. And then this dude Tom came and picked up where he left off, and it was cool. We finished the summer. My first girlfriend I ever had came from that camp. This girl, Kate O'Connor, who she was a year younger than me, but I don't know why. I always had a thing for her and this other girl, Sue, her best friend. I kind of liked them both. I kind of wanted them both. I was so nervous to even say anything to her, walk up to her, whatever, this and that. So I waited to the last day of camp one year, because I knew if she dissed me, then I wouldn't have to see her until next year. You know what I mean? But if she liked me, then it'd be kind of weird because I wouldn't see her until next year unless, you know, I went to Old Bridge or South Plainfield, I believe she was from. And I don't forget, I gave her a gold bracelet, and it was like, Kate, I like you. And I kissed her down by the rocks down in Merrill Park in Edison. Not Merrill Park, I apologize about that. The hell's the name of that park? In the park right behind Menlo Park Mall in Edison. Down by the water, there's a little creek. I kissed her right there. That was cool. That wasn't the year I was a counselor. I was still a camper at that time. The year I was a counselor, that was a whole different story. I had the biggest crush in the world on this girl, Robin Lear, and she was 2 years older than me. I was 14. She was 16, going on 17. I thought she was the hottest thing that ever walked the face of the earth. And I was 14. I was a little more aware of the world and whatnot. You know what I mean? I was thinking with two heads now. And Gerard sold the camp to this guy Stan, and he brought a bunch of his friends in from Brooklyn, and I started realizing things. I started realizing people were getting high. I started realizing a lot of crazy things in that camp. I had the hottest crush on that damn girl so bad. And she used that against me like most of them do. When I was really young in that camp, this is a true story. There was a time on a Wednesday they took us to this club in New York City. They would take us to clubs actually once in a while. It was kind of weird. They took us like to Roxy. They took us roller skating and stuff. It was really weird. But they took us to, I had to be like 6, 7 years old. They took us to the Fun House in New York City. It was a club, and they were doing a sound check. And shit, you're not. Run DMC was getting ready, and we got to sit there and watch them do sound check, and it was just crazy. And we got to go to a dance club. We got to go like it was literally like an old folks night, not old folks, but you know we were like 7, like a New York hip hop club. It was kind of like weird looking back on it, like what the hell they take us to the fucking Funhouse for? But and actually at one point I believe there was a bunch of marijuana bags going around in the '90s in the late '80s called Funhouse, and they were supposedly pretty damn big and good, and came from that spot. But camp was crazy. Camp was cool. Camp was a fun time. Camp definitely helped sculpt my life because I got to meet people from all over the world. I mean, I could write a whole book just about stories from camp, but it kind of let me be somebody else. It didn't let me just be Fred. For those 2, 3 months a year, I knew I was going to be Rocco, and it was like I could live out a whole nother persona, a whole nother entity, an alias, an AKA, and it was kind of the blueprint for what was going to come in the future with like YG12 and whatnot, because it was like I don't have to just be Fred. I could be more than just the person people see on the streets. People see me in real life, I'm actually kind of quiet, and most of the time I won't even say 2 words to them, say hello or nothing, even if I know them. I'm weird like that, but when I was Rocco, I could be something completely different. Same kind of now with YG12. Young People's Day Camp definitely helped sculpt where I became, what made me me. Looking back on the whole situation and the whole story. A little yellow smiley face balloon, and the red backpack, and the little yellow bus, and Mr. Jones flipping Snicker bars and blow pops, selling them on the side so we didn't have to buy it for cheaper than what the camp was selling them for. Man, those were great times. Those were great times. I learned how to hustle that day. Great times, man. Young People's Day Camp. If we could all be young again, huh? Shit.